and right. Caitlin Clark breaking assist records, breaking WNBA and NBA assist records. Meanwhile, she has teammates blowing 10 assists on layups, 12 in total from what I know, but 10 on layups. It's ridiculous. We got to get to the video footage.
That right there is the part everybody is going to remember. Caitlin Clark is stacking assist records while some of the easiest finishes around her are disappearing. And once you actually go possession by possession, the box score starts telling a very different story.
Podcast for Leah Boston as of right now. Take a look at this here before we even get to the footage of all these missed layups. PG1. In just 83 career games, Caitlin Clark has become the fastest player in WNBA history and faster than any NBA player in the last 30 years to reach 700 assists. WNBA or NBA, it don't matter. It's only one GOAT, and that GOAT's name is
700 career assists in only 83 games. That is the headline number, and it already sounds ridiculous on its own. But the more interesting question is what that number could have looked like if Indiana had converted even a normal percentage of the opportunities Clark created around the rim. Because assists are one of the strangest statistics in basketball. The passer can do everything correctly. She can manipulate the defense, hit the cutter in stride, throw the pocket pass exactly where it needs to go, draw two defenders, and dump the ball off to somebody standing 3 feet from the basket. And after all of that, whether she receives an assist still depends on somebody else finishing the play. That is what makes this particular game so interesting. Clark officially finished with 10 assists. 10 is already a strong night. But the film suggests the passing performance was considerably better than the official number. And keep that distinction in mind, because later we have to talk about the part that matters much more than Clark's individual statistics. These missed opportunities might look funny when somebody puts them into a compilation, but against the best teams in the league, leaving this many easy points on the floor can become the difference between advancing and going home.
It was really ridiculous, guys. Let's get into it. 10 Caitlin Clark assists blown on layups. The girl could have had a 29 and 20 assist game if they could just make some damn layups. Really think about it. Come on. Here's Caitlin Clark throwing it up to Sophie Cunningham. Smoked it. I mean, come on. You got to make it. You got to make it. There's no, look, nobody's here with you. There's nobody in sight. You have to make layups. This goes for everybody.
Start with Sophie Cunningham. Clark throws the ball ahead. Cunningham has the opportunity, and the finish simply does not fall. Nobody should pretend players are supposed to make every layup. That is not basketball. Contact changes angles. Defenders recover. Players rush attempts. Sometimes the ball just rolls out. Even elite finishers miss shots that look automatic on replay. But what turns one miss into a story is what happened after it. Because this was not one isolated possession that somebody pulled out of an otherwise clean offensive night. Indiana kept generating chances where the difficult part of the possession had already been solved. The defense had been moved. The passing window had been created. Clark had delivered the ball. What remained was the finish. That distinction matters when evaluating a point guard. People will often look at 10 assists and say, okay, she created 10 baskets. Not exactly. She received credit for 10 baskets that teammates converted after her passes. The number of quality shots she created can be much higher. That is why potential assists are useful. They do not magically turn misses into points, and they should not be treated as official production, but they help answer a different question. How many legitimate scoring opportunities did the passer actually manufacture? On this night, apparently quite a few.
Smokes it. I mean, just... Nobody's there. Like, you're by yourself. You're by yourself. You're by yourself. You have to make layups. There was 10 of these guys. We combing through the footage. We get into the chart after. Like, they just missing layups left and right. Caitlin Clark, backdoor to Kelsey Mitchell. Smokes a layup. I mean, come on. Come on. Then you're going to force it up and get it blocked.
Now the pattern starts getting harder to ignore. Lexi Hull gets inside. Kelsey Mitchell gets the backdoor opportunity. These are different players, different actions, and different possessions, but the same problem keeps showing up at the end. And notice what Clark is doing before the miss. She is not simply standing at the top of the floor making safe perimeter passes that happen to become assists. She is seeing the opening before it develops. That backdoor pass to Mitchell is the kind of read that punishes a defense for leaning too aggressively toward the ball. Once a point guard consistently sees those windows, defenders have a problem. Stay attached to your assignment and Clark can attack the primary coverage, overplay the perimeter, and she can hit the cutter behind you. Send a second defender, and suddenly somebody else has an advantage. That is the value of a creator who forces the defense to react before she even releases the ball. But there is another side to it. A great pass only creates the advantage. Teammates still have to cash it in. Indiana cannot control whether every jump shot falls, but finishing clean looks at the rim has to become one of the highest value areas for improvement, especially this late in the season. These are the opportunities an offense works all possession to create. When you finally get one, you cannot repeatedly hand the defense a second chance.
Like, come on, bro. Like, the girl had 10 assists with y'all smoking assists left and right. Handoff to Michaela Timpson. Michaela Timpson in the lane. Easy. Smoked it. Caitlin Clark. Now, this is, I'm going to stop this here. Aaliyah Boston, this is part of the reason why I don't want to see you do no podcast episodes until you learn how to do a drop step lay-in. Until you learn how to make layups. Stephanie White has really messed you up to the point where you focus on becoming such a hub.
This is where the conversation shifts from amusing to frustrating. Clark already had 10 assists despite a growing pile of missed opportunities, and now Aaliyah Boston becomes part of the discussion. Boston's role is especially important because her chemistry with Clark can give Indiana something much harder to defend than a simple drive and kick offense. When Boston establishes herself around the paint, Clark can attack from multiple directions. She can feed her on rolls, hit her on slips, find her after defensive switches, or use Boston as a playmaking hub and relocate. That partnership gives the fever options, but the most basic option still has to work. If a smaller defender gets switched onto a post player, that is the matchup the offense wants. Boston does not need to turn every touch into an elaborate move. Seal the defender, create the angle, go through the advantage, finish. And this is why criticism of missed layups does not require pretending Boston suddenly became a bad player. She did not. It means the standard should match the opportunity. If Indiana wants to make a serious postseason run, the team cannot be satisfied merely because the offense generated the correct shot. Good process matters, but eventually good process has to become points. That sounds obvious until you watch a night where possession after possession dies after the hardest part has already been completed.
Switched on you. You are 6'5" and you can't make a layup over her. Take a look at this crap. Caitlin Clark gets it to Aaliyah Boston. You got a Rike on you and you smoked it. Like, dude, come on. You got a Rike on you. You 6'5" with a Rike on you. You can't make the layup? Like, come on, bro. Caitlin Clark dropping it off to Aaliyah Boston again. Can't finish.
Look at the matchup being discussed there. Boston has a major size advantage. Clark recognizes it, gets her the basketball, and Indiana still walks away without the result it wanted. This is where people sometimes turn the conversation into Clark versus her teammates, and that misses the useful point. Clark does not benefit from everybody spending the next day arguing that her teammates are terrible. She benefits from those teammates converting more of the advantages she creates. Indiana's ceiling depends on the entire group becoming more efficient together. Boston finishing those interior touches helps Clark. Mitchell converting cuts helps Clark. Cunningham finishing transition chances helps Clark. And Clark drawing defenders makes all of their jobs easier. That relationship works in both directions. The dangerous version of Indiana is not Clark accumulating individual numbers while everybody else struggles. The dangerous version is Clark bending the defense until her teammates are receiving the easiest shots they have seen all night, and then those teammates punish the defense for giving them up. Imagine being an opponent trying to decide what to take away. Pressure Clark high, and she slips the ball behind you. Stay home on the roller, and Clark gets space. Help aggressively, and Mitchell or Cunningham gets daylight. Switch, and Boston attacks a smaller defender. That is a playoff offense, but only if the final action gets finished.
Like, come on, bruh. Caitlin Clark dropping it off to Aaliyah Boston again. Can't finish. Caitlin Clark gets it to Michaela Timpson. Can't finish. Caitlin Clark throwing it up to Kelsey Mitchell. Can't finish. I mean, bro, just somebody got to want to make a layup. Somebody want to finish, please. We have 10 of these.
And now the misses start piling on top of one another. Boston again. Michaela Timpson. Mitchell. Different locations, different defenders. Same missing 2 points. This is also why Clark's official assist total does not capture the full quality of her game. A point guard's job is not to physically put the ball through the rim for another player. Her job is to create an advantage and deliver the ball at the right moment. Some passes are technically completed but create nothing. Others completely break a defense and still never appear in the assist column because the shot misses. When evaluating playmaking, those 2 passes cannot be treated as equal just because the box score gives both of them 0 assists, and that is where film matters. The film shows Clark repeatedly putting teammates in positions where the expected result should be a high percentage attempt. That is why the idea that she could have flirted with 20 assists is not coming out of nowhere. It does not mean we simply add every miss to her total and declare she deserved 20. Basketball does not work that way. Every player misses. But when 10 layup opportunities alone are being discussed, we are no longer talking about one unlucky bounce. We are talking about a night where the difference between actual assists and created opportunities became unusually large. And that gap tells you something important about how well Clark was seeing the floor.
You're supposed to make the layups, man. Y'all did so bad. Y'all did such a terrible job. They done made a chart. Who made this chart, man? Hold on, let me go back, man. Okay, here, who, this him? Okay, Crash Out King made a chart. Y'all wanted it, so here it is. Hand track Caitlin Clark potential assist data versus the Wings. A shout out to who? Crash Out King. For this. Y'all do.
Then somebody did what basketball fans do when the eye test becomes too ridiculous. They started charting it. According to the breakdown referenced in the original video, a fan account called Crash Out King tracked Clark's potential assists and separated the converted opportunities from the misses. Now, fan-tracked data should always be treated for what it is. This is not an official league statistic being announced from the scorers table, but it gives us a possession-by-possession framework we can compare with the footage instead of simply saying, it felt like everybody missed everything. And that distinction actually makes the argument stronger, because once you chart individual possessions, you can ask better questions. Was the receiver actually open? Was it a layup or a difficult shot? Was there contact? Did the pass genuinely create the opportunity? Was the miss something the offense should reasonably expect to convert? That is a much better conversation than blindly inflating assist totals. And what makes the chart noteworthy is that it appears to match the larger story visible on film. Clark was generating far more potential scoring opportunities than the 10 assists beside her name would suggest. The stat sheet gives you the result. The chart attempts to show the process. For Indiana, the process is encouraging. The finishing is the problem.
Caitlin Clark potential assist table. All right. So here's the potential assist, and then if there's a check mark, that's an actual assist. So we just gonna do the unchecked because that's all the misses, okay? Kelsey Mitchell blew one, then AB blew one, then Lexi blew one, then Aaliyah Boston blew another one, then Aaliyah Boston blew another one. So that's 3 already. Aaliyah Boston, you smoked 3 of the assists in the first half. You just was missing layup.
Now we get names attached to those possessions. Mitchell misses 1, Boston misses multiple opportunities, Hull misses 1, and suddenly the number stops feeling hypothetical because you can trace where the empty possessions came from. Boston having 3 missed opportunities in the first half is especially important because of how central she can be to Indiana's offense. Clark and Boston have the pieces of a devastating two-player combination. Clark can force the initial defender to commit, Boston can screen, roll, seal, short roll, or facilitate, and the defense has to choose which problem it wants. That becomes even more dangerous when Boston is decisive near the basket. She does not need every possession to become a power move. Sometimes the best improvement is simply catching the ball ready to finish. No extra pause, no unnecessary reset. Use the position Clark already created. And the same principle applies to everybody else. Hull's value is not measured by whether she produces 20 points every night. If Clark creates a cut and puts the ball directly into her path, finishing that opportunity is enough. Cunningham does not have to create the entire possession herself if transition opens up. Mitchell does not need to manufacture a contested jumper when Clark has already beaten the defense with the pass. That is what offensive chemistry looks like when it is working. Each player reduces the difficulty of the next player's job. Indiana appears capable of creating those sequences. The next step is completing them.
It was left and right like it wasn't nobody's business. I mean, damn. Michaela Timpson blew one. Then Sophie blew one. I mean, Lexi's was so bad, though. Lexi layup almost went to the damn hot dog stand. It was bad. It went off the backboard so hard. That was ridiculous. Okay, KK blows an assist. Sophie blows an assist. Kelsey Mitchell blew one. Then Kelsey blew another one. Then Kelsey blew another one. Then Kelsey blew another one. Then hold on, I didn't even...
And this is where the count becomes wild. The chart being discussed attributes several missed potential assists to Mitchell, along with misses from Boston, Timpson, Cunningham, and Hull. The presenter eventually reaches 13 missed potential assists overall, while distinguishing that not every one was a layup. That clarification matters. A missed three should not be judged the same way as an uncontested finish at the rim. Three-point shooting naturally has much lower conversion expectations. Even elite shooters miss most of their threes. Layups are different. If the offense creates 10 legitimate layup chances off one player's passing, and those opportunities fail to become assists, that tells you two things simultaneously. First, Clark was operating at an extremely high creative level. Second, Indiana surrendered a huge amount of efficiency in the highest value area of the floor. And now we can finally get closer to the real issue behind this entire breakdown. The concern is not that Clark lost a chance to make her individual stat line prettier. She already reached 700 assists at historic speed. Another record does not change whether Indiana wins a playoff series. The concern is that these exact missed finishes become dramatically more expensive when possessions tighten up. In the regular season, you can survive an ugly stretch and still escape with a victory. In the postseason, a 6-point swing can decide everything. Miss 3 point-blank opportunities, and suddenly an opponent that should be down 8 is down 2. One run later, you are chasing the game. That is the hidden cost of these misses.
No, it was this damn bad. Kelsey? Damn. How many times is Kelsey? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kelsey, you blew 7 of them. You blew 7 of them. All I'm saying is this, man. This is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is like 13 blown assists, bro. Caitlin Clark could have had a 20 assist game. And now I think like 2 or 3 of these is including like 3-point.
7 missed opportunities attributed to Mitchell, and that chart immediately jumps off the screen. But context matters here too. Mitchell is one of Indiana's most dangerous scorers. Her ability to attack, pull up, and punish defenses is a huge reason opponents cannot devote every resource to Clark. So the lesson is not, Mitchell missed some shots, therefore Mitchell is the problem. The lesson is that Indiana's best version requires its primary pieces to capitalize when another star makes the game easier for them. Think about how difficult Mitchell can be to guard when she does not have to create every advantage herself. If Clark draws the defense and Mitchell catches the ball already moving downhill, that is exactly the kind of situation Indiana should want repeatedly. The same goes for Boston. And this is where coaching becomes part of the equation. You do not respond to one bad finishing night by tearing up the offense. The offense created the shots. You reinforce the actions that produce them and attack the execution problem directly. Footwork, balance, finishing through contact. Using the glass, reading which hand the defender is taking away, repetition. That work is not glamorous. Nobody is making highlight compilations of players practicing 20 versions of the same finish. But those repetitions are what turn a brilliant pass into 2 points in a playoff game. And with the postseason getting closer, that is the standard Indiana should be chasing.
Or jump shots. I know it was 10 layups, assists blown on layups, period. And the fact of the matter is, y'all not going to beat the better teams in this league unless y'all start making y'all layups. Stephanie White, I don't want to see Aaliyah Boston doing podcasts. I don't want to see nobody doing half-court contests. We don't want to see no dogs. We don't want to see none of that, bro. And we getting close to playoff time, man. It's time to lock in. Y'all need to start making these damn layups.
There is the payoff. This was never really about whether Caitlin Clark should have finished with 10 assists, 15 assists, or 20. The number makes the story entertaining. The stakes make it important. Indiana cannot assume the same margin for error will exist against stronger playoff opponents. A missed open three is part of basketball. A difficult runner rolls out. You live with it. A defender makes a great contest. Give her credit. But when your point guard repeatedly beats the first layer of the defense and creates a layup, that possession needs to hurt the opponent. That is how you turn Clark's passing from a spectacular individual skill into a team-wide weapon. And there is an encouraging side to this. Indiana does not need to invent an entirely new offense to solve what we just watched. The opportunities were already there. Clark was already finding the reads. Players were already getting behind defenders and receiving the ball near the basket. The hardest problem would be an offense that cannot generate quality looks at all. That is not what this footage shows. It shows an offense generating enough advantages for people to start making charts about the opportunities that disappeared. That can be fixed. But it has to be fixed before the same possessions start deciding elimination games.
Playoff time, man. It's time to lock in. Y'all need to start making these damn layups. Y'all need to start making layups. It's ridiculous. Get down in the comments.
And that is where I want to leave this, because there are two completely different ways to look at the same game. You can look at 10 official assists and say Clark had another excellent passing night. Or you can look at the film and realize 10 assists might actually understate how much offense she created. Both can be true. Clark reaching 700 career assists in 83 games tells you the production has already been historic. The missed finishes tell you there may still be another level available if Indiana becomes more consistent converting the advantages she generates. And that is what should scare opponents more than any single record. Records describe what has already happened. Chemistry determines what might happen next. If Boston becomes ruthless when smaller defenders switch onto her, if Mitchell converts more of those cuts and downhill opportunities, if Cunningham and Hull finish the open chances created in transition and off defensive rotations, suddenly every coverage against Clark becomes dangerous. Trap her and somebody gets a numbers advantage. Switch and Boston gets a mismatch. Stay home and Clark gets room. Overplay and she hits the backdoor cut. That is the puzzle Indiana wants opponents trying to solve, but the puzzle only works if the final piece goes into place. You cannot spend an entire possession forcing the defense into the exact mistake you wanted, make the correct read, deliver the correct pass, and then repeatedly give the possession back at the rim. That is why the misses matter. Not because anybody needs to embarrass these players. Not because every missed layup is some unforgivable offense. And not because Clark's teammates exist merely to inflate her statistics. They matter because Indiana has a playmaker capable of creating unusually valuable opportunities, and wasting those opportunities lowers the ceiling of the entire team. So now the question becomes a choice. When you look at this game, what bothers you more, the fact that Clark lost what could have been a monster assist total, or the fact that Indiana might be leaving enough easy points on the floor to cost them when the playoffs arrive? Get down in the comments and tell me which side you are on. If you think these finishes are the biggest thing Indiana needs to clean up before postseason basketball, hit the like button, subscribe, share the channel, and turn on notifications, because the passing is already creating the chances. Now somebody has to finish them.